And we're live now. All right. So chapter 1015, titled Chained, was a freaking stunning chapter, phenomenal chapter. Um, if it wasn't a 10 out of 10, it was damn well pretty close to it, was it not?
Yeah, I think Oda, honestly, he just doesn't miss since 1,000. It's been
Dude,
insane.
Oda's
This arc is really shaping up. Like, that's the thing. Like, we're thinking, the old Marineford arc. Like, oh, is this arc really like as big? Is this arc really as crazy? But like, if you think about it, there's been 15 chapters back to back that were like S tier
10s. Yeah,
chapters.
dude, I'm just saying, right? A lot of people hated post time skip, right? A lot of people like pre time skips where One Piece is at for like it's taken a massive decline in writing ability and enjoyment of the series, right? But you got to think, we've like the second half of the series until Wano, like despite the arcs being like enjoyable here and there and like doing like big stuff, those arcs have all been like set up arcs for this arc, and Oda's
Yeah.
just been able to flex just back to back to back to back to back, just like just mic drops. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, true.
dude, 10 oh chapter 1000, so 15 chapters ago, right? A volume and a half ago, Luffy red rocked Kaido and put him face down for a second. And everyone was like, we've got this in the bag. We're going to win. It doesn't matter. Oh, yo, we got this. Oh, so hype.
That's Gear 3. He hasn't even gone Gear 4 yet.
Like what? Chapter 1007, Kaido went hybrid around then, right?
Yeah.
Then it was like, ooh, Kaido's gonna get a bit of an upper hand here. He's an absolute beast in that. Then we hit like 1013, and Luffy's like, go downstairs, boys, I got this. And everyone was like, Luffy's gonna win. Oh, he's unlocked something here. Peak fiction, peak fiction. What happens? Dude gets not just thrown off. The way it's implied is he got his cheeks clapped so hard that he was about to attack Kaido with some new technique, and Kaido just smacked him off the side of the, like, just knocked him clean out off the island. Like, Oda's Oda's paying off 10 years of setup here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
And like, honestly, Marineford might be a more enjoyable arc for the moment, just barely. Like it's so neck and neck. But
Yeah.
if I'm being completely honest, with the way this chapter ended and the fact that this chapter marks the end of volume 99, I'm
Hmm.
just gonna say I think we've got another 10 chapters before Act 3 ends. And I think like we haven't even gotten into what Oda considers the juicy part of the arc yet.
Yeah,
And
that's
that's saying
true.
a lot, man. Like, oh, like
Yeah.
last chapter when Kaido was like, "Oh, you couldn't be Joy Boy either," right? Did it not almost feel like everything we thought we knew about the Void Century just had the rug pulled out from under us, and it was just a matter of like, I thought we knew what, like, I thought we had a rough idea of what everything was going to be. Now all of a sudden it's a title that might be inherited, or Kaido knows about it, and he's gatekeeping for Joy Boy. Like, ooh, what the,
Yeah.
like, Oda specifically has some big pieces of the puzzle taken out that he's just dangling, just waiting to drop in a chapter. Just like whenever someone's like One Piece is
I
mid, he's just gonna be like, and throw it in there.
I think it's coming soon as
Same.
well, which
Yeah.
I'm really keen about. I think it's not going to be very far away.
Um.
Pretty excited.
All right. Let's just jump into the chapter and start breaking down from the beginning of the chapter like we always do. Yeah. So Luffy KO'd in the water. He's doing the whole Naruto opening. He's out in the water, just feeling himself, just like oh, eyes wide out and everything. We cut into the performance floor and we get Chopper versus Queen's continuation. And do you know what? Good on you, Chopper. You gave it a red hot go. All right. Like you got to think, Monster Point Chopper was like one shotting CP9 members, and like although he's doing like nothing to really hurt Queen at all, he's putting in his effort. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's definitely true.
Like he's got a like if you had like he's got a bounty of 100 berries. Like, dude, that's like saying, can you imagine Higuma, the bandit that got killed by a Sea King in the first chapter, fighting Queen?
Mm.
Like, even if Queen didn't fight back, you just would be like, he can't. There's no. He'll still do no damage. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah,
like
yeah, I got what you mean.
it's good on Queen here. He's well, good on Chopper, I should say. He's trying his best, but
Mm.
Chopper seems to have been the only Straw Hat to just not believe Luffy here, which makes sense because Chopper's also the most gullible Straw Hat. Like he's the
Yep.
only one that really believes Usopp's lies. But like, kind of hurts to see a little bit. I love how we cut to see some of the like the high like the minks that are just under
Nekomamushi.
Nekomamushi and Inuarashi. I just whoo, the day caught up with me there. And then we see some of the other random samurai and Brasola and that, and there's a bit of shit talking happening. Then
Hmm.
honestly, this is probably like one of the funniest parts of the chapter to me. Sanji running around using KO'd Zoro as a baseball bat.
Yeah,
Just
definitely.
like I said it when we first saw Sanji carrying Zoro, and it's like it's funny how like the Zoro versus Sanji debate's always real. People are always going to be on one side of it more than the other, even if they say they like both. You know what I mean? But I love how
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like Oda gives Zoro like the best sort of feats you can give a character of his level, and then like carks him out, and then you literally have Sanji like bearing the cross that is Zoro, just memeing on him while he's KO'd. Like it's like like Sanji gets a feat later, but it's like Sanji hasn't really had any like colossal feats yet. But you just get to see Sanji just rubbing it in on Zoro while he can. You know what I mean? He's just like, nah,
Yeah, I get ya.
I like it. So Izo is with Kawamatsu and Sanji here, right? Um,
Yep.
so I just sort of have to jump ahead with a question. Do you reckon Kiku's dead, down and out? Because
I don't know if I can. I don't think so.
I part of me wants to be like no, but then another part of me sort of like I'm thinking we just might start to get Scabbers dying. Like
Yeah.
I think Oda might have like I think it's either gonna
Personally,
be
I think yeah. I'm thinking that there's two that we've currently seen. I think they're actually maybe straight up be just be dead.
well,
Um.
I mean we have Ashura Doji who might be dead. We have
Mhm.
Kiku who might be dead. We have Kanjuro who probably is dead, right?
Mhm.
And then Kinemon. So that's four out of the nine. You know what
I
I
think
mean?
Kinemon's gone. Yeah.
You reckon Kinemon's gone here? Because like part of me was like they're not gonna do it like part if I'm being completely dead set
That
honest.
blade plus the hammer hit. I think
Okay.
that has to be him gone.
So how I feel and how I'm seeing it, right, is he's not dead, but he's dying. And he's gonna get like one last little like on the cusp of dying like dialogue with someone before he carks it or before someone like Marco and Law get to him to heal him. But it's like at this point in time, it's like realistically, like if Otsuru's dead, which it's implied his wife died, right? Like Holden burnt down the village just before the raid.
Yep.
So if she's dead, I honestly could see like I could see him just being like, nah, kill Kinemon, take him out. He's got nothing left after the battle to go home to other than just Momo, and it's like, is that really like the Warriors? You know what I mean? Is that what he
Yeah, I could
deserves?
see it.
So it's like
Yeah.
if you've taken away his treasure already, once he achieves his goal, or as long as Momo survives and becomes the ruler of Wano, does he need to stay alive? And I
Mm.
mean, we saw Kaido just impale him. That was on some pain stuff there. You know what I mean? Like
That's true.
I was waiting for someone to come in last minute and save him. I was waiting for like the Shanks block for Kobe. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, just continuing on where we were. We've got Queen and Pedo Bear charging against everyone and doing some combination attacks. I said in the live reaction, if you actually look here, when Queen, just before Sanji kicks Queen, right?
Huh?
Uh, he a Brachiosaurus is a herbivore, so why the hell does he have all these sharp teeth? Has he modified his mouth to like because they almost look like snake teeth with the like venomous teeth?
Okay.
So I was wondering if he's modified himself because I don't know if you've read this yet. I dropped it in the Discord, the link to SBS Volume 99, right? But
Mm-hmm.
Oda actually explains how the smiles are made and how they work, right? And so essentially what they do is they cultivate the lineage factor of different animals. Um,
Okay.
and they use the ton. So they get the lineage factor. So essentially, they've got the sad is just DNA soup, right?
Yeah.
They use the tontadas to cultivate that DNA soup to grow fruit. 1 in 10 fruit actually gets the ability. The other 9 get that side effect. You know what I mean? So
Okay.
I wouldn't be surprised since Queen's a scientist. We've seen Queen have so many body modifications. I wouldn't be surprised if, especially since he seemingly has a connection with Judge, if he has modified his own lineage factor in a few ways. So he's sort of like the alternative of what you could see a Vinsmoke being. You know what I mean?
Okay.
So like maybe these teeth here, again, him being a herbivore, maybe that's him modifying his lineage factor to have like carnivorous teeth or poisonous teeth. Considering we know he's also Queen the Plague. Like I lean more towards the poisons and venoms and stuff like that.
Yeah. Okay.
Would be interesting.
I mean, I could see it. Yeah, I could see that.
It's
It would make sense. Like, I kind of do wish they would explain it. Like, I don't want them to just not.
yeah. So yeah, we have Queen here about to chomp on Chopper, and Sanji comes in. Also, like to point out, Sanji breaks some of the teeth. Oh, okay.
Oh yeah.
Sorry, I didn't even realize this. Take a better look. Those are actually the sharp teeth grow through the blunt teeth of the herbivore.
Right.
So he's got like normal herbivore teeth, right?
Mm.
And then the spikes come down through it, through the tooth. So it is a lineage factor modification by the looks of it, or a cybernetic one. Because then Sanji kicks all
Okay.
the
Right.
sharps off, and he goes back to his herbivore teeth.
Yeah, I see that. I see that.
That took
Yeah,
me
true.
that
He
took me
kicks
a
all the
moment then.
one of the. Yeah, he kicks all the shops off. Yeah.
Yeah, so he kicks him so hard that it just like breaks him. So I wouldn't be surprised if they're supposed to be like sort of syringy sort of like
Yeah, they actually
modifications.
may be poisonous
Yeah,
and bite you dead. Yeah,
that would be interesting. That would actually be a bit harder to deal with in a fight as well. Because could you imagine that?
definitely.
Could you imagine that in a what you call it, a hybrid form? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Like
yeah. I get what you mean.
be pretty deadly. Then we have Sanji helicopter Queen around. Like he just straight up memes him. Um, Also funny how it knocks out Perisparrow. Just straight takes out Perisparrow in the collateral.
Does it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you not notice that when you read it?
I didn't notice that actually. No.
So his head spinning.
I thought it was really funny because him spinning his head around, it wasn't just that he took the damage from the kick, but he also collected all of the arrows.
Yeah.
So he basically took the full force of that entire arrow barrage, which to be fair, they probably won't go very hard through his hide. Still, I thought that was kind of funny.
Mm. But yeah, they get goofed on it there, and then we have Sanji boosting Chopper's morale, just being doing the typical Straw Hat thing, where it's just like, we're a Straw Hat man. Luffy dies all the time and comes back. We're clean.
Yeah.
We've got plot armor here. What do you expect? You know what I mean? Um, then you get the iconic "So it's you, Judge's brat" sort of Sanji Queen sort of is being teed up for a fight here, and then Sanji drops Zoro over to Chopper, which is interesting. But what the hell is Marco doing? Because we cut over to Marco being like, "That's why I like you guys," and it's like we didn't see King really on.
Where is he, man?
Yeah, so it's like
how is he like? No, yeah.
so like last time we saw Marco was 2v1ing Queen and King. Then Chopper starts attacking Queen, so I'm assuming Marco's clashing with King,
Yes,
like
Marco.
right next to them, while
Yeah, and
Perisparrow's
just
come up to attack, but then Perisparrow didn't take a single shot at Marco.
I guess Marco just saw saw Chopper and was like, "Yeah, you can take him," and just like, "I'm gonna leave, and we're just gonna
It's like,
fight over
oh,
here."
you're a straw hat. Oh, you
Because
deal with it.
to me, they're both flying while they're fighting, so I reckon they could be like a while away. Like they could be in a different room, or they could just be flying through the whole area or something like that.
Mm,
Could be anything.
potentially, potentially. Um, then we get to sort of the sad part of the chapter. Uh, um, my guy Kinemon. So we see Kaido towering through the giant asshole he made. We've got
Hmm.
Okiku bleeding out, and like I'm not saying like she's down. I mean like you see a puddle of blood coming out where she just got stabbed straight through the gut. No different to Kinemon here. She's not
Yeah.
even twitching though. She's she's missing an arm. She's been impaled. She's done. We see Kanjuro's
Hmm.
face and torso lit up with blood. We see, and this, okay, this 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 had me off guard a little bit here because we've got Kaido there. Notice that he still hasn't healed back from Zora's attack yet, so he's still got the big cut across his torso.
Yeah. Right.
So he like the healing factor that he had earlier on in the arc hasn't worked against that Conqueror's Haki slash.
Yeah. True.
So there might be something more to read into there. There might not be. It just might have been like an attack that like just isn't going to heal in 2 seconds like that. But it is what it is. Um, last chapter, both Kinemon's swords broke. So we see him picking up one of the swords here. It's already broken, so he just picks up the blunt part of the blade and tries to stab Kaido in the leg, doing nothing. Right?
Yeah.
And then Kaido pulls a sword out of nowhere. This just confused the hell out of me while I was reading it because I was like, does Kaido just carry a sword between his ass cheeks? Just ready to pull a sword out of nowhere, just in case he's got to finish a dude without the club. Because you know the meme I'm talking about as well, right? Where it's just like holding clenched.
Yeah.
Because yeah, it's not Kinemon's sword, or at least it shouldn't be, because his Kinemon's sword broke. Like you see both halves of it last chapter at the end. So unless that's a mistake, it's done and dusted. And we get a cute little sad flashback here before Kinemon just gets impaled. It's not even just a stab. It is Kinemon gets stabbed straight through the stomach. There's an explosion of like there's a chunk. There are chunks spitting out his back. Right? And then apart from just the chunks spitting out his back, he's like pinned to the floor now. Like the sword goes in through the
Yeah.
floor. So like even if he was okay, like barely, he's not
Yeah.
moving, he's pinned. Like someone's got to come and
Yeah.
get
True.
him up if he's going to get up and do anything.
Yeah. Right.
Which absolutely oof. But like the fact that the chapter doesn't end there just has me feeling like he's not dead yet, or at least we'll get a moment or two with him later. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's what I'd assume.
But like, just it don't be looking good for the scabbards, my guy. Scabbards, scabbards don't be looking like the world's best people right now, or at least the healthiest people in the world. You know.
Yeah.
Um, then we get probably the most interesting parts of the chapter. I don't know about you, but the Momo Luffy thing here actually feels like a huge plot twist in a weird way. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I think that's just massive. What
Yeah.
happened there?
So not like not only has Momo been able to sense what was happening on the rooftop, which just shows good observation, Haki, but he's communicating with Luffy. And
Yeah, but here's the
Luffy's
thing, I
actively
don't.
communicating with
Yeah.
Momo.
I don't think it's like Momo being like, "Hey, Luffy, talk to me." I think like Luffy's reaching out.
Yeah, well, later on in the arc, so later on in the chapter, if we keep going down, when Law's sub shows up with the Straw Hat Pirates, they say,
Mm-hmm.
"Who is that person?" It's like we could hear his voice even though we're underwater. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Which makes me
Yeah.
feel like there might be a bit more to the voice of all things than we've expected.
Yeah.
Where and
Definitely.
how I'm sort of starting to see it now is like not everything needs to have a combat aspect to it, but could you imagine if the true unlocking of the voice of all things is essentially the inherent ability to know or understand anything and to convey how you feel to someone?
Okay, right.
So, like, they're saying they can hear his voice, but, like, could you, like, when we think about One Piece, the goal of One Piece is to be the Pirate King, right? And we know there's going to be a huge war at the end of the series. Could you just imagine if Luffy's able to just, like, give an order to the entire fleet through his mind? Just, like the whole telepathy thing. You know what I mean? Where
Yeah, okay.
he's just able to, like, instinctively understand how everyone's feeling, who people want to go up against and whatever. And, like, he leaves it to them, but he's able to, like, just make everyone understand an order without actually speaking.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? Like, and
Yeah, I could see that.
that's what it is to truly be a king, because that's also something that we sort of get with the Roger Pirates, where they say that the Roger Pirates were so dangerous because they just fought in such perfect synergy,
Hmm.
which we know that Roger had the voice of all things. So it'd be
True.
interesting if, like, the reason his crew was sort of so good is because he could just instinctively, like, let them know whatever he was doing in the battlefield. At
Yeah,
least
okay.
at least in, like, a high tier situation, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
Um
yeah.
so Kaido's just, like, an absolute monster. He's just a god at this point, right? Like,
Yeah,
I
genuinely.
I outside of semantics, right? He's got the
Hmm.
best showcasing of any individual in the series at the moment, in a, like, combative standpoint, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. He seems to.
Like, what is it? The 9 scabbards, the 5 supernova. He's, like, soloed all of them so far. So he's 1v14'd people. Like, he's just done,
Yeah,
1v1, 1v1,
he
1v1.
he has had like genuinely the best showing. I think the only one that's arguable is Whitebeard, just because he fought multiple admirals, or I guess the admirals,
Yeah,
just because they fought Whitebeard.
yeah.
Um, but like yeah, he's had such an incredible showing, and I think the thing is that we can power scale people that he's fighting a little bit better. And like he has actually also said multiple times to like his teammates and things like that, it's not because you're weak, it's because they're too strong
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Like the people that are on the Allied team, that are on Luffy's team,
They,
are incredibly strong now
like,
compared to the world view. Like Big Mom kind of plays him down by being like, haha, you guys are trash. But
I
they're
mean,
not.
they're trash to Big Mum because Big Mum's, like, near Kaido.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
even then, it's like Kaido's just saying, like, look, they still can't touch me because look at me, I'm still winning every fight, and it's not
Yeah.
even a, oh, I'll have this fight and then heal up and have the next fight. It's a, oh, let's just do them all back to back. Healing, what's
Yeah.
that? I'll just keep throwing hands until I'm done. You know what I mean? And it's like he looks like he's got just as much health now as he did when the arc started.
Hmm.
Like, he may have been cut by Zoro, but it's like
Absolutely.
it's like you left a scar. That was an effect, but it's like he's still at 99.9% health.
Yeah.
Um,
Pretty crazy.
what sort of irks me here is in the reaction shot to everyone. We see the live floor. We don't see anyone really up in the air, sort of thing, but we see that. So Frankie, we see Frankie shit-eating grin. We know he's in the middle of his fight with Sasaki, but we don't know what's going on there. Chopper's crying, but Chopper's, like, in the immediate present, like, watching Queen and Sanji fight. Brook has his sword drawn and he's scuffed up, and we see Brook and Robin there. They were both fighting Black Maria, so presumably they're still, like, actually in a heated conflict at the moment. Who's Who
Possibly.
is, like, looking a little like so I was making the joke, if you look at the page above that, right, it looks like Jinbei's just karate chopped Who's Who. And then if you, like, go down to the next page, Who's Who's still, like, falling back a little bit from the karate chop. like like Jinbei's just done a swift jab to the throat, and Who's Who's just, like, took a page and he's just like, oh, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you. Yeah.
um King's there. King's in not his giant bird form. So what the hell is he doing? He's just sort of like he's doing nothing. Like at the moment, right now, if I had to say anything about any of the First Division commanders, the one I am just like, I don't care about King at the moment. Like I want to care about him. Give me a backstory. Give me something interesting. Get him to do something cool. Because right now,
Yeah,
he's just
I
like
need something from him.
he had like a cool design when he first showed up, had a bit of hype surrounding him, and he's just done nothing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the most impressive thing he did was catch Shinobu, who was trying to free Momo.
Mhm.
And yeah, it is what it is. We've got Kid there, still in the middle of his fight with Big Mom, and then we have the Heart Pirates pick up Luffy. So not only have they heard his insane voice, but we see the back half of the Law Pirates picking up Luffy, and assumably, since this is right on the coast of Udon, and we just saw Shinobu rot out the ground and have Momo fall, they're gonna Shinobu and Momo are gonna land just at Udon. Just before they hit the ground, Momo's gonna turn into a dragon and stop Momo and Shinobu from dying, right?
Ooh, yeah.
Luffy is gonna get picked up by the Heart Pirates, and they're just gonna dock on the shore. And then you're gonna have that group try and regroup with everyone else at Onigashima and play catch up, right? Which leads me to
Yeah.
say the next 10 chapters, because volume 100's supposed to end at 1025, presumably.
Okay.
So I'm pretty sure volume. Sorry, no, sorry, that's volume 101, maybe. Volume 99, 100, and 101, I think, are all gonna have a joint cover, like continuation, where it's all one artwork, right?
Right.
So presumably, those those volumes are sort of intertwined thematically in some capacity, right? So we've got volume 99 ending at 1005. Volume 100 ending at. Oh, sorry, no. Yeah, okay. Volume 99 is ending at this chapter here. No,
Hmm?
no, sorry. I keep doing that all the time.
Next chapter, you mean?
No. 99 ended at 1000 and. Oh, yeah. You know what I mean. It's around this. I'm pretty sure this is the end of the middle volume, right? This is going to be the end of the middle volume. So we've got one more volume after this. So I'm pretty sure we're going to have about 10 chapters where we don't have Luffy in the fight. You know what I mean? Which means in the next 10 chapters, we're going to build up to the tragedy, because I think at the end of that volume is when Act 3 ends. Which, if you look at the pacing, Chapter 1000, Kaido picked up Onigashima. We've hit the halfway point between where Onigashima was and where the Flower Capital is. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if we keep going at that same pacing, we'll hit the Flower Capital by 1025, and that should roughly be where the tragedy sort of hits. If Luffy's out of commission from now and then, trying to catch up with everyone, that leaves all the Straw Hats without their captain to have to deal with Kaido and Big Mom. And you've got Law and Kid there, yeah, but they're no Luffy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if anything's going to go bad, it's going to be within the next 10 chapters, in my opinion. And considering we're having pretty much a countdown of all the scabbards getting killed, essentially, at this point in time, I wouldn't be surprised if in the next couple of chapters a few more scabbards go down when they start clashing with different people, right? I wouldn't be surprised if like Who's Who and Ulti get back up in a chapter or two, considering they're ancient zones. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see it.
And I think that could definitely change the tide of the war, where all our guys are fighting all out, but it doesn't matter if they beat them, the enemy team still keeps getting back up. And so the tragedy might end with us getting, pretty much dropped until Act 4 opens up and maybe Otama gives the order for the gifters to swap sides.
Okay.
and that might be the shift in the tone of the war. Potentially, we don't know yet. Like it's,
Yeah,
we've been speculating about this for so long, but because of the volume release, that's the only thing that sort of has me being like, okay, we might, we might get to that point now where it's gonna start wrapping up, sort of significantly. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
That being said, this next part is the part that I got spoiled on Twitter that I had got my theory right about, and that's Nami's climate act having become a new homie. And I feel a little chuffed about this one, eh?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
this was one of those things where no one really saw it. One person like commented on it, and unfortunately they spoiled me about this chapter. But it just had me being like, oh, okay, Oda did the good thing there, because not only is this not Zeus, this is a new homie altogether now. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
we've never seen Big Mum make a homie and not immediately give the homie a name and instructions, and we don't know if it works similar, if Big Mum's fruit works similar to Sugar's fruit, where they're Big Mum's parts of her soul and she's the only one that can manipulate them. But if she doesn't give them purpose, they might not listen to her. You know what I mean?
yeah, true.
Which would mean this might be a permanent power up for Nami, which it should. Which
Yeah,
it's not going to be on the same level of Zeus because it's not a lightning cloud that's alive now. It's the device, but I think this will give a permanent increase to her ability to create weather. So it'll give her a bit of a power up, but it won't be as big as it has been with just Zeus on its own.
yeah. It won't be too ridiculous. Yeah,
Yeah, so she's going to be running around not with a Yonko attack, but with an attack worth what she needs at this point in time, like as a Straw Hat commander, essentially.
yeah.
Then we
I
cut.
agree.
Then we cut to Kid and Law, versus Big Mum. This sort of pissed me off. I'm not gonna lie. Why did Law not attack for a dramatic entrance? Just felt like a waste of coming into the conflict like this. You know what I mean?
What do you mean by why didn't he attack?
Like, Law's the tricky sort of combatant, right? What was more impactful?
Right, like why didn't he enter the battle with it with like a significant attack?
Yeah,
Why did he just walk in?
like he walks in here monologuing, but wouldn't it have been more impactful if like Big Mum was about to attack Kid was about to block, and then all of a sudden all three of Big Mum's homies just disappeared, and Law just ruined them with something, and then that's
Yeah,
how he
that's
enters.
true.
You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah.
it just feels a little. I don't know. Just feels like I love Law, I love Kid. I'm hoping they actually go for a hard fight here, especially since Luffy isn't here to like carry them. I hope they actually like need to start putting in the work because, and one of the big things here is in the latest SBS, which we'll go through in a minute if you want. Um, Kid's fruit got confirmed in the SBS because Oda just forgot to apparently confirm it in the actual story. So typical Oda, but it's the magnet fruit or the juiki fruit, right?
Hmm?
So part of the thing that he says is he wants to show more of Kid soon in the manga, right?
Yeah.
To me, Kid's about to get a moment to shine here against Big Mom. Hopefully, we get to see some good stuff from him because I tell you what, I'm sick. I'm sick of being dragged through the mud of hope for Kid. You know what I mean?
He
Like,
just hasn't done that enough, eh?
oh, it kills me because it doesn't even need to be like he doesn't even need to really hurt them. He just needs to like be throwing attacks at them. Like could just instead of just making big fist and going black, like just going splat. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like as if he doesn't like throw a punch at Big Mum. If the punch misses, shoot the metal off. And then jump back, you know what I mean? Big Mum comes to attack him. He brings the metal in from her back and then throws a punch with the other arm and then tries to like compress the metal together. Why aren't we getting like more creative stuff like that?
Yeah, right.
As opposed to just I make big arm and go punch punch. Yeah, it is what it is. But so this volume 99 is going to end with volume 99 is going to end with this chapter, I think. Or actually, no, the volume might have already come out. Either way, this chapter here ends with Kaido and Yamato meeting for the first time on screen that we've seen, and seems like Yamato is gonna try and stall Kaido for a little bit, which I honestly, do you think this could be getting ready for the Kaido flashback? Do you think we get the Kaido flashback in Act 3 if there is a 5-act structure for this? Or do you think we just don't get a Kaido flashback at this point?
I don't know if we do. I think no. I don't know if he's necessarily like a story character.
I don't
Like I think he's just like an old ancient. Like I mean, are we gonna get? Yeah, no. I don't think we necessarily have to.
really.
I don't think we need a flashback from everyone.
I
I just think I think what's going to happen is he's going to go on a monologue about like Joy Boy or some kind of secret. Like that's going to be his main thing. I don't know if he's going to be like I have this really interesting backstory.
I don't know
Like to
because
me, he's just like a great, powerful pirate. There might be like a this is why I joined Rocks or something.
yeah. Well, see, to me, to me we're lacking like Kaido's strong, but we're lacking a want to kill him or take him down. Really, like even though he's done terrible stuff, most of the bad stuff that's been done with Kaido was really Orochi. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so I mean, to me, like it depends what you mean about flashback. Like if you're saying like is he gonna get like a full blown like flashback arc? I don't think so. But there may be like a chapter where he starts going on about his past, and then for like that chapter, you get flashbacks
I
of.
I don't think we're
I
getting
don't think it's gonna be like a 5 chapter thing.
I don't think we're getting an Odin's level of flashback by any means. But I think we have to get like a 3-4 chapter flashback at least. Like
Mm.
I think we need to
I
get
think it's gonna be the level of Katakuri.
that
That's a
all.
good example. Yeah, I think it's gonna be a Katakuri level flashback.
Uh
I mean, they haven't seemingly been alluding to him having some crazy exceptional past. They just seem like yeah, I think there's going to be like a flashback of okay, maybe there's like 2 chapters. Maybe there's like a flashback of him and Rox and why he joined and Rox breaking up, and then there's another chapter of like what he did after Rox. So basically why he chose to go to Wano. And but I think the flashback is going to be less about a story about him and more about him being, more about him giving essentially like giving a speech on like the worldview and what Joy Boy means and things like that. Like, I think it's going to be like back in the day I joined Rox and Rox wanted to be Joy Boy or something like that. And then like I think the flashback that he gives is going to be connected to Luffy and it's going to matter. It's not just going to be used as a story plot to be like, hey, this is who I am. Whereas other characters like Odin, for example, his flashback was more about like just learning about who Odin was and who the retainers were
yeah.
more
I
so
mean
than like this is how the story goes. I think if Kaido does get one, it's not going to be as much
see,
about like here's who I am.
I think the reason we didn't really get a flashback of Big Mum is because the Kaido Big Mum flashback is going to be part of Kaido's flashback. And it's going
Well,
to
here's the thing:
be
we did, right? We got her meeting the food guy. We got her eating Mother Caramel. We got her building
Topland.
like the fact that she hates the giants, her building Totland from the base, and that was like interspersed throughout the arc in like
I
a
mean,
few panels at a time, maybe
actually,
a full chapter
we got
at a
two
time.
we got 2 chapters of it, which was the most of it. We got her with the
Yeah, right.
birthday, like we got the Mother Carbell flashback essentially.
Yes, so then that's what I'm essentially going to say
But
is like that's the level of flashback I expect
see,
from Kaido. I don't
I
think it's going to be more than
I'm expecting a little bit more because like I'm at the moment it's a bit hard because like Kaido's cool because he's a fighter, but I think we're missing something to make us sort of want him to go down a little bit extra hard. Apart from the fact that he's just like, it's a good fight for Luffy. You know what I mean? Like, you know how most villains in the story, Oda gives a flashback to make you like them right at the last second.
that. Yeah.
I feel like Kaido's almost the opposite, where it's like, you know, I don't really like. I don't feel either way about him. I don't hate him, but he's not my favorite villain. You know what I mean? He's just like big beefy
I
guy.
think the problem is that he's like Thanos. He's definitely evil. He's definitely a villain, but he's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Like when you think about it, this entire arc, we've seen what he did to Wano. We've seen him kill Odin, who we've grown to love, and he killed him. We've seen him like torture Momo. We've seen him force smiles upon entire villages, causing them to only be able to laugh even though they're constantly in pain. Poison people's water supplies, like starve out
But
smaller
then,
villages.
arguably, all
We've
that
seen
stuff as
a
well
bunch
is
of
just
crazy
what.
shit.
Arguably, all that stuff was just Orochi and Kaido just backing Orochi because he's a partner.
Yeah, but Kaido is essentially the cause
Yeah.
of all of it. And the smiles is something that's very unique to
See,
Kaido. Like
uh,
the smiles is something that Kaido did himself.
so
And then the prison, like like capturing and breaking all these pirates and things like that. And then on top of that, he's got this rivalry with Big Mom. He's got his connections to rocks. Like I think he's been expanded upon enough. Just it's just that there hasn't been like a long series of chapters that have been dedicated to Kaido, and I don't think there needs to be. I think over the course of the entire Wano arc and even before it, he's been slowly getting built up as a character. I think his whole thing is he's just a big, strong, tough pirate.
okay.
I don't necessarily know if he has some like like Big Mom has a specific character where she's like a little
So
bit weird, right? Like Law, Doflamingo is a celestial dragon, so he has that kind of connection. We might get an explanation about ancient giants from Kaido, something like that, but I don't think there's going to be anything like, this was my story when I was a little boy. This is how I grew up.
I, I think we do. I think we get a little bit of it. It's hard though because I don't know how it's gonna be paced out in the story because it's like unless we get the tragedy or just before the tragedy we get the Kaido flashback. Unless Yamato being here prompts Kaido to just talk about his past or to delve into it a bit and then we like segue into that for a little bit. I can't see it really coming up unless it's like the last punch before Luffy takes him out. You know what I mean? And so it's like I struggled because I could see I could see a long drawn out flashback with Kaido where we get Kaido as the cabin boy of Rocks and essentially like we see him join Rocks, we see what Rocks like what the taboo stuff that Rocks was trying to get into and then we find out that's how Kaido knows who Joy Boy is, right? Then
Mm-hmm.
we have a bit of a better understanding of where Kaido and Big Mom actually stand in actually getting the One Piece. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
like we we look at Kaido and Big Mom and we're like, oh, they're close to getting One Piece, but they'll never get it really because they've got no one to read the poneglyphs, right? But it's like, what if they already know what was on the poneglyphs because they were alive in the time where O'Hara was around and stuff like that?
Well, then why wouldn't they just sail there?
See, like, they just might not know the location. They might not have access to, like, they might know almost everything except for the location of One Piece and what the last bit of information is at One Piece.
Yeah, but then they can't become Pirate King because
No, no, no. But,
they can't read the pen.
which is fair, but it's like we might get more of a flashback in that where the goal of the flashback is sort of just seeing like Kaido almost being like the opposite of Shanks, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And you love it, growing to love him, but also growing to hate him a bit more because of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because at this point in time, I'm hard done by it because I feel like Kaido as a character is cool, but like I said, he's nothing special. Like at the moment, he doesn't make it into my top 10 favorite characters, but I wouldn't say I dislike him in any way. Like the more I see him,
Yeah,
the more I enjoy
I
him.
don't think I don't think he needs to be like a great liked character. I think he's just like a big strong dude. I don't necessarily know if he needs to be that much more complex. Like I feel like the complexity comes from the smaller villains. Like the complexity has to come from the smaller villains. Like Bowser doesn't have much behind him. He's just a big ass turtle who likes capturing Peach, right? But he's just like that big boss dude. I feel like it's the smaller villains that need to be expanded on. Like Dofi would be such a boring villain if he didn't have so much
Oh,
backstory and so
100%.
much interesting stuff about it. Because he's just like this random warlord who owned who owned an island and who was scared of Kaido and all of Kaido's underlings. Like he would just seem like some weak little who cares about him. Luffy beat him as soon as he got gear 4, move on. But because they gave him that much backstory, he's actually significant and people love him. But like, I don't think Kaido needs it because I think Kaido has literally commanded an entire saga of arcs.
But that's
himself based on just being him,
see,
his power.
that's the point
I
though.
don't necessarily think he
Like
knows character. He needs character development.
to me, Kaido and Big Mom are enjoyable characters, but they just haven't hit the peak of it yet, right? Which is why I think it's fitting that both of them share the same backstory because I think it's like they're the climax of the post time skip so far, right? So it's like
Mhm.
you really want to be like for this arc to be the best arc in the series so far, which it seems like Oda's trying to set it up for. I feel like we need the cherry on top for Kaido and Big Mom that just makes us like just have a whole new appreciation for wanting them gone in the world. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like I don't know. It's hard because
I mean, seeing Big Mom slaughter entire like countries
villages.
just to get ingredients for a cake or for her tea party, and seeing what Kaido did to Wano, like to me, all I need to see is Kaido smash in um a couple of the retainers' heads, and I already hate him. Like, these retainers have been with us for like almost half of the time that the series has been going on,
Ooh,
and Kaido just killed one last chapter. Like, in my opinion, he's dead. He got, not only did his head get caved in to the point he could barely move except for through sheer willpower, he also got stabbed like straight up through the chest and seemingly like ripped in half. He is
yo,
just quadruple dead in my opinion.
Kaido's on the first floor in the attic, right?
Hmm?
Like, and he walks outside, but when he walks back inside, he's just come out from the attic, right? So
Hmm?
he's on the level just above the live floor.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if he goes after Chopper next, who's trying to heal up people?
Yeah. It's true.
Because like Kaido just is effective. He's efficient. You know what I mean? He has his fun. He lets people take shots at him, but like when he wants to take someone out, he's just been consistently just like delete, 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 delete. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So without Luffy here, who do you reckon his next target will be? Now that Momo's gone as well, do you reckon he deals with Yamato
Yeah.
pretty quickly and then goes back in, or do you think Yamato can sort of stall him for a bit?
Well, that's something we need to talk about. Yamato seemingly is like, she knows Luffy's been taken out, and she's still challenging Kaido. Like, she seems to know what she's doing. Like, I'm not saying she's as strong as Kaido or even or even as strong as Luffy, but
She's
like
made
she
her
seems to
choice.
at least be strong enough to be like, I'm gonna take you on. In the same sense that like Law was like strong enough to at least plan trying to take out Kaido, and like Kid thought he could and things like that. Like she's at least like on that kind of league. I'm thinking she's like high supernova level.
Oh, I mean, what's Supernova level at this point in time? Because I see Yamato at
High
like
supernova level. So
I see Yamato in
Kid,
the commander levels.
yeah. But I mean, I see the high supernova level in like first commander level.
Okay.
Like Kid and Zoro are probably like the top tiers because like Luffy is there as well, but obviously he's a bit above that. So
Yeah.
like Kid, Zoro, Luffy around that area. Um, yeah, that's where I'm kind of seeing Yamato. And so I'm thinking like she could probably hold him off for a bit. Plus she knows his moves.
Ooh, imagine a Thunder Bagua versus a Thunder Bagua.
Yeah,
That would
pretty good.
that'd be pretty sick. Um. Okay.
Or we may see her fruit soon if she has one.
Yes. Yes.
Seemingly they're gonna do some kind of clash, and then Kaido will like overpower her because of his fruit, and then she's gonna be like, "I got one too,
Do
bitch,"
you
and then turns into
reckon?
whatever her fruit is.
Do you reckon she's a tiger, white tiger, natural enemy of the
Ooh,
dragons?
yeah, that'd be pretty good.
Because I know for the longest everyone was being like, "Oh, well, Fuji's a tiger. He's gonna come to Wano," and nothing. He never showed up. But
Yeah,
Yamato,
a
yo,
mythical white tiger,
Okay, sorry.
not a
Pause.
normal white tiger, but a mythical version.
Pause. Pull up for a second. Yo, we're not getting any of the Marines come to Wano, right? Like, do you feel
Mhm.
confident in saying like we're not getting another faction show up at the moment?
No, I think CP0 is going to do
I
something,
mean,
but I think that's
I
kind of
think
the world government level.
CP0 is already here though. Like, I don't think we're getting anyone else come from outside Wano at this point in time,
Yeah, neither.
right? Dude, that means there were three admirals out on the out about on the lurk to take out the warlords potentially,
True.
or to try and take on the revolutionaries.
True.
What the hell do you think is happening outside of Wano right now?
I think yeah, I think when the Wano arc ends, it's gonna be like almost like Luffy sitting on a throne and the world's on fire. Like sitting on a throne having conquered Wano, and he looks out to the world and everything is just like falling apart. Like the Revs have made like a desperate attempt. All of the warlords are fighting against the world government all at the same time. Like the entire navy forces are split all over the world, fighting all the different warlords and all the
Yeah.
different factions. All the different CP agencies are spread all around, fighting all of the uprising revolutionaries. That'd be really cool if
Okay.
just like everything was going down. Like Luffy just like finishes up Kaido, and then they look out to the world, and just maybe with his voice of all things kind of thing, he can like get like a general sense of what's happening around the world, and he's just like everyone is dying. That would be pretty insane.
Okay. Um.
One thing that I wanted to mention,
Ooh, yeah.
um, so with this communication between Luffy and
Momo.
Momo, what's going on with so can Luffy just telepathically talk to anyone? Because seemingly the people that were on
Law's crew
the
could hear him.
Law's crew could hear him, but maybe it was just one. Maybe one of them also has it. Because seemingly Luffy didn't tell everyone on the island. He only told Momo, and we know that Momo has some kind of connection with the voice of all things. So originally, I would think he can only speak to Momo because Momo is like sensitive to it, you know.
Or
But then he speaks to someone
or is it his
close to
haki,
it.
his will? Like, I think this actually might be an aspect of Conquerors. And
I
so
mean, yeah, I'm thinking definitely.
he's targeting Momo, but it's like radiating it out off him. So the people on Onigashima can't hear him, but people that are close to him can sort of hear it. Like they can understand it.
Yeah.
And so because the law pirates are like right under him, they can just feel this aura emanating off him. Like even look at him, see how like he's sort of just whited out, like around him's whited out, like almost like he's glowing in the water.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean?
It could yeah, it could well be that like it's easier to talk to people when they're close by, and because he's now at the bottom of the ocean or halfway down the bottom of the ocean, everyone else is so far away from him that he can only speak to Momo because Momo's like more sensitive.
Yeah. Okay. 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 Time to have a look at the SBS corner. The link's up on the Discord if you want to go jump onto it. I am going to. What am I going to do here? I'm going to drop this blur so people can look at it. If you haven't looked at the SBS yet, you can go check it out on the Library of O'Hara. The link is in the Discord. The link to the Discord is in the description down below. And if you're going to already be going around and doing all that good stuff, you know what you can do to help out the channel. You know, subscribe to the channel, hit a bell icon for more notifications for content like this, and give us a thumbs up and all that other good stuff. It is appreciated. But, okay.
Channels, I mean?
You did I not send it yet? I might not have sent it yet. Go to One Piece chat.
Mhm.
And so that's the cover. So this is volume 99. Volume 99. Okay, so volume 99 ended at 1005. Volume 100 ended on this chapter. Volume 101 will end at 1025. Okay. And the cover will be this one that you can see there with Big Mum over the Straw Hats. Then it'll be one with Luffy with Zoro and Sanji in the front, and then the other side will be Kaido with the rest of the Straw Hats. Okay, so starting off at the beginning of SBS with question 1, we have a reader ask, Oda Sensei, congratulations on reaching 1,000 chapters of One Piece. This volume will include chapter 1,000 within it, so there's only one thing I can say. Let the SBS begin. Oda says thank you, all that good stuff. We there's pretty much a lot of stuff that's just in like it doesn't matter in this SBS. The big things to sort of take away from it is question 3. In volume 98, you revealed Kaido's devil fruit's name, but could you tell us the name of kid's fruit? Oda says, the Jiki Jiki know me. I didn't mention it before, huh? It allows one to freely manipulate metal with magnetism. I should have mentioned it somewhere within the main story. Next time I'll draw something about it. So, should be excited to see something come out of kid's ability there in the future. Another interesting thing is the personification of Nami's climate act. There, that dude lying down that looks like the electric guy from My Hero Academia. He just looks buzzed out of his mind, eh?
Yeah.
Head's half rainy, half sunny, and he's just got a cloudy torso. Dude looks cooked. So there's a lot of stuff about Jinbei in this SBS, but one of the bigger things is question 9 here. So about Otoko's mum, or in other words, Yasui's wife. What type of person was she? Is she still alive? Long ago, Yasui used to be married without any children, but after he lost his wife, he remained single. After losing to Kaido and surviving, he found a little baby in a Bitsu town. That baby was Otoko. Otoko does not know that they are not connected by blood, though. So, does that make the Yasui execution even more tragic to you? The fact that Yasui's adoptive daughter, without knowing she's adopted, was just there crying over his corpse, trying to use Usopp's lie of toad oil to heal him, while a bunch of essentially the Beast Pirates and Nazis just stood around ready to kill her.
Yeah.
Pretty tragic. Feel pretty bad for her. Okay, so where are we? Okay, go to question 15. This is another interesting one. 15 down will be really interesting, okay? So, in chapter 966, Roger and Rayleigh said that they say as they were holding up Momonosuke and Hiyori, I haven't spent time with a baby in ages, and it reminds me of the old days. But in those old days, whose baby did they spend time with? It doesn't seem like there were any women aboard Roger's ship. And Oda specifically says, they said that. That's just sweating. Just skip that bit. It's nothing to worry about. Nothing to worry about. Phew. So, there's obviously more of a story somewhere about Rayleigh and Roger having something to do with kids, right? Two interesting theories that I've seen thrown around about this, right, is one, the baby that they were talking about, seeing as how at this point in time, Shanks was a teenager, right? Is that the baby that they were talking about was actually Mihawk, and Mihawk's father is Rayleigh and mother is Shaki. That would be interesting because their face structures actually kind of line up a bit. Like, Mihawk sort of has a cross between Shaki's hair and Rayleigh's beard. If you actually look at them side by side.
Okay.
I posted those to you on Facebook, actually.
Yeah, I saw those actually. Yeah. So you sent them to me.
And the
I didn't know
other...
what they were though, because you didn't type any context.
Yeah,
So there's some photos.
the other potential link is a lot of people think that Robin could actually be Roger's daughter, because Robin's mum, Olivia, was essentially Robin would be Ace's older sister. You know what I mean?
Can you imagine how much of a troll that would be for Sabo to have hung out with his,
Yeah.
I guess, sister, and not know it, and then also have his brother die?
I
and not
mean,
know it?
do you know how much of a troll it is? Because if you look at volume 11, I think. So essentially in Logtown, when Dragon shows up, right, to Logtown, there's someone that looks identical to Sabo there watching Luffy's execution with Tabagi, right? Could you imagine if Oda just came out and was like, oh yeah, Sabo watched Luffy be executed, didn't get his memories back, and then spent a year or two with Robin, and then and then ended up getting his memories back and was like, oh shit. Sabo's just like the most unlucky dude that's just like, man, fate does not like me, eh? Also, the only brother to not get Conqueror's Hug. He's just like, oh, why does all this stuff happen to me? I was so cool. I was like the middle brother. No one cares about the middle brother. Then we get the explanation, this long explanation about the smile fruits. All right. So, and this leads into something about Vegapunk. Okay, so we have Adachi in chapter 978. There's a gifter with a giraffe devil fruit yelling "funk" on the live floor, who is a different person from both Kaku and the headliner Hamlet. So could it be that smiles can produce users of many different types? Particularly, does it matter if there already is a natural, assuming they're natural, devil fruit user of that animal? And Oda's answer is, sure. Smiles are artificial fruits, so they're completely different from the regular fruits. To put it roughly, Punk Hazard's Sad, a liquid made by mixing the lineage factors of all types of various animals. Dressrosa's Smile Factory, by letting plants suck up sad, they produce strangely patterned fruits. At the Wano country, only 1 in 10 of these imported fruits will grant animal abilities. So in other words, they aren't related to the real devil fruit. That's why gifters with the same animal exist. Why ability users for Logias, Parameces, or mythical zone types cannot appear, since lineage factor can only be extracted from already existing organisms. This is Caesar's limit as a scientist. However, the genius scientist Vegapunk might or might not have been able to research beyond that boundary. And so that actually seems pretty heavy. Like that seems pretty big, right? The fact that because we know Vegapunk made Momo's fruit, which is a dragon fruit, right? So he's shown to be able to make a man-made mythical zone. He's been able to replicate Kizaru's lasers, right?
Mm-hmm.
The only, could you imagine if he's able to, through technology, replicate the effects of fruits? And that's going to be like the big SSG power-up. Not necessarily that pacifistas have like multiple devil fruits, but they've just got multiple abilities that mimic different devil fruits. Like, could you imagine if he found a way to replicate Kuma's paw ability? And so the pacifistas now have like 1 lasered hand and 1 paw hand, where they can like reject things. Because like, we have been speculating about Vegapunk for way too long now, have we not? Like, at a crazy amount. But I mean, this SBS just makes me think even more so that like he's able to F with different types of devil fruits and be able to reproduce the effects pretty unfairly. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I mean, like, the fact that he's working for the Marines, like, you got to think, right? Chopper made Rumble Balls, which boosts his fruit's ability. Caesar looked at the Rumble Ball and went, I can improve that by 10 times in like 5 minutes if you just give me chemicals. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If that was Vega, like, could you imagine if Vegapunk's able to dope the zone users of the Marines?
Instant Awakening doesn't seem like that far-fetched, hey?
No, and considering, like, you look at their Vice Admirals, right? Well, there's a fair few zones mixed in there with the Vice Admirals. Like, Dalmatian and Onigumo, the spider. Like, could you just imagine if, like, it gets to the final war and they're, like, backed into a corner thinking, like, the Revs are going to mess them up or something, and they're like, Vegapunk gave us these in case of an emergency. It's supposed to force an awakening. Bam! Game-changing right there. You know what I mean?
By the way, how cool would it be if Dalmatian had a wife who looked exactly like Cruella,
Uh,
and he had 101 army members?
he's got a platoon of 101 men.
Yeah, he's got a platoon of 101 men who all wear like Dalmatian themed clothing, and then his wife always travels around with him, and she's like a raging bitch.
That would be beautiful.
That would
Um,
be so good. And then like Oniguma has like his own little lair, and there's just like spider webs everywhere. It's like super creepy. It'd be cool if like all the vice admirals had their own little like areas that were themed towards them.
yeah, so that's pretty much the major stuff from this SBS.
Huh?
Like, there's a few little questions, but it's sort of like, it doesn't really matter. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Like I said, the biggest things are really, it's the small stuff. It really is the small stuff. Kids' fruit, for clarification. There's some mystery behind Rayleigh and Roger having dealt with kids in the past. But other than that, it's just sort of, you know, typical getting through the days. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so what is your predictions for the next chapter?
I'm seeing I'm seeing a slightly slower one. Um, I'm thinking the biggest thing that happens is Sanji starts fighting Queen, and Law and Killer, we actually get to see a little bit of them fighting Big Mom. I'm thinking everything else is sort of either not touched much or not much really action happens. Like maybe like Kaido and Yamato will like start to face off, but I'm not sure if they're gonna like
Okay,
get much into a fight.
I reckon chapter opens up with Kaido and Yamato talking. Then it cuts to Sanji and Queen for a little bit.
Hmm.
Then cuts to the Heart Pirates actually having had retrieved Luffy.
That's what I was gonna ask. Do you think they're actually gonna show Luffy getting retrieved and healed and talking and all this stuff, or do you think it's just gonna get off screen until he comes back?
I think I think he'll I think they'll show it because I think that you know how there's always a like in the new world there always seems to be a countdown in the
Yeah,
in
yeah,
the
yeah.
conflict. Like you know you got the poison gas leaking in and Punk Hazard. You got the birdcage closing in. You've got Big Mum charging after you and the fleet charging after you. There's always some
Right.
kind of
So this
timer.
time it's gonna be like a countdown for Luffy coming back.
Yeah,
It's gonna be
where
like a good
like
countdown.
yeah, but like you say it's good, but you got to think it's like we're doing a countdown of we don't have Luffy.
Yeah, it's gonna be a countdown of survival. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think we're probably gonna
What
lose
I mean is like
the survival
you're
for the
not
most
counting
part.
down to your death. You're counting down to your savior. So you've
Yeah,
got to avoid death until then.
yeah. Um, that being said, um, I think we get them heal Luffy, then we cut over to Law and Kid fighting Big Mum a little bit more. Then I think I think we need to cut to. I think there'll be something else that we just don't predict that's got to get set up, and then we'll go
Hmm.
back to the roof where Kaido and Yamato start to face off.
Okay.
That's my
So
prediction.
here's my little prediction. I don't know if people haven't really been saying it, but if Luffy gets the voice of all things, he can read the poneglyphs.
Yep.
Robin no longer has a purpose. There's a lot of people, namely CP0, who want Robin.
You think the kidnapping will happen, do you?
I'm not even sure if it'll necessarily be a kidnapping. I think it's a potential death. I think something really bad is going to happen in this arc, like something irreversibly bad. We've just had what I think is Kinemon's death. I think either captured or death, but because the thing with captured is I don't see Luffy after Wano like leaving and going to rescue Robin again. I don't see that happening for a second time. I'm thinking it's a quick kill and leave kind of deal, and then it just like adds more animosity for the world government. But it's something that Luffy
See,
can't really do anything about. And then like maybe the rest of the crew are like, we have to go pay them back, get revenge for Robin. And Luffy's like, I'm gonna be the Pirate King. I'm going to be the Pirate King, and just like goes to Raftel, and then becomes Pirate King, and then finds out the Void Century, and then goes back against the
see,
world government.
the only reason I wouldn't say that is because like Robin's dream is to find out the Void Century. So it's like I
Yeah.
feel like she needs to be there because I feel like Luffy will
Yeah.
understand it emotionally, but I feel like I feel like Robin's gonna be there, and when she like when we're at Laugh Tale, Robin's gonna be there. Luffy will like go. He'll do something, and then like go to walk off, and everyone will be like, what's wrong? And Robin will be like, no, it's okay, and then we'll go into a flashback, which is just her explaining the Void Century. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Like I get that like Oda doesn't like killing off people, especially main characters, and that it's kind of unlikely. But I feel like there needs to be a certain bitterness at the end of series. There needs to be like a everyone accomplished their dreams except for one person who died along the way in like a really terrible way.
Brooke.
I feel like there just needs to be like some kind of like
Okay.
bad gut feeling that you have at the end of the series, because I feel like that feeling makes it more of a journey, right? It's like rather than yay we did it, it's like yep we did it. We lost some people along the way, but we got there and we did it. Like a bittersweet accomplishment
Okay.
will make it feel more like a legendary story.
I've got an odd question for you.
Mm-hmm.
The Roger he laughed moment, and the fact that all the Roger pirates laughed, right?
Mhm.
Is there something visually funny at Laugh Tale? Like, do you get there and there's just like there's a gag, something like really funny that everyone's just gonna laugh at before you even read like we're all expecting some like poneglyph there that you read and you're like, oh, the mysteries of the world, or is it you get there and it's just like a massive fu?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it's like you got to think, Roger and Odin were the only ones that could understand the poneglyphs, right?
Mhm.
But the whole Roger pirates showed up there, and as they got there, they laughed universally. Just no understanding. They just cracked it laughing.
Yeah.
So it's like it's hard. It's hard. What are your thoughts on Joy Boy? Do you reckon Joy Boy is going to
I was
be?
actually about to ask you, do you think that there's only been one Joy Boy in history, or do you think there's been multiple Joy Boys already?
It depends on
Like, do you
how
think Joy
Oda.
Boy is like a consistent title, or do you think it's like there was one original Joy Boy, and then in the future it's prophesied that there's going to be one more who's going to save the world, or do you think it's going to be like Roger
Okay,
was Joy Boy and Rock
there.
was Joy Boy before
No, okay.
that?
There are people that inherit will, right? So
Hmm.
if we're talking point blank, Joy Boy the person, right, is the only Joy Boy there's been. There's people that have inherited his will and tried to commence his dream, but they just weren't
Hmm.
born in the right place at the right time. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, but in that scenario, they would have been Joy Boy. They just wouldn't
but
have like
but I
completed.
think
They would have passed on the
but I
will.
think because
It's
they
one
weren't
for all,
but I
right?
think because they weren't born in the right place at the right time that they're not Joy Boy. I think they're Joy Boy, but they're not. Which could be to me the downfall of what Dragon is. Because
Yeah, I don't know. I think Joy Boy comes with it some kind of inherent power, and people can get and like only one person at a time will inherit that power. Um, and if you get it, then
see,
you're Joy Boy. But yeah, you got to pass it on. Like
you got to think of
you
it
can
like
fail.
breaking it down. Joy Boy, what is Joy Boy? Just someone that smiles, someone that laughs. Essentially, you know what I mean. He who walks through hell with a smile on his face. You
Yeah.
know, like to me, it's not as simple as that though, because you've got things like the ancient weapons, you got things like Shirahoshi, and we got things like the Sea Kings that were like you know how they were talking about like the ancients. There was going to be a sovereign born, when they were talking about in the Roger flashback about Shirahoshi, and then there's
Yeah.
another one being born in a distant sea. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I feel like there's only two Joy Boys: the original and whoever is Joy Boy now. We don't know if it's Luffy because it might not be Luffy.
Whoa, I just had a big brain explosion moment. Do you remember when Whitebeard was about to kill Blackbeard and he was on the ground screaming and crying and
Yep.
going, "Please don't kill me, please don't kill me." And then after that, they
He's
shot up Whitebeard, and right before he died, he
he's
said
like,
to
it's not you.
Blackbeard, "It's not you. You're not the one that Roger was waiting for." Maybe that's because the one that Roger's waiting for is the next Joy Boy, and Joy Boy always smiles before death.
Yeah. See,
Blackbeard can't be
but
him.
the problem is then people that smile before death. Every D has smiled before death except for Blackbeard.
Yeah.
So it's like it might not like Oda. Oda's good at red herrings. You know what I mean? But he's
Yeah.
also good at like dangling like the obvious in front of you. I don't know if Luffy's gonna be Joy Boy. I would not be surprised if he is because I feel like the story's built up for you to expect Luffy to be Joy Boy.
Mhm.
But he might not be. Look at Momo with the journal. When Momo read the journal last chapter, he said, "It seems I should not die." You know what I mean? I'm not going to die because essentially the journal's saying I'll be alive for some purpose.
Yeah.
So what if the journal actually indicates that Momo's one of the ancient weapons in some capacity, right?
And that Joy Boy has to like lead the ancient weapons to do some purpose.
And this is the only time in history where all ancient weapons have been around at the same time as a
Yeah.
Joy Boy being alive. Because there could be people like Roger who had Joy Boy's will, but
Not the
Shirahoshi
weapon.
wasn't born. You know what I mean? You need all
Yeah.
of the pieces of the puzzle to be lined up perfectly to really be Joy Boy.
Yeah.
Which is why, seemingly, everyone knows that Joy Boy was going to show up this year. You know what I mean? Like 20 years
Mhm.
ago, it was wait 20 years, we'll get there. You know what I mean? But
Mhm.
then the Sea Kings were like, oh, give it a decade or two in Roger's flashback. But the Sea Kings have got
Mhm.
nothing to do with what we know the history is. If anything, any knowledge they
Maybe
have is directly from the Void Century.
and maybe the reason that Odin knew all this stuff and the reason that it's in his journal is because Toki's job essentially was to travel into the future and find the Joy Boy and help them.
Maybe, maybe.
So Toki went into the future, and then somehow, while she was traveling around with Odin on Whitebeard's ship, she figured out that the Joy Boy would happen in 20 years at that point, and then they were telling Odin that, and basically Odin like
Okay.
wrote it all down in his journal.
So this brings me to Sama in the Reverie, right?
Yeah.
Im's targets were Luffy, Vivi, and Blackbeard.
Yeah.
Say Joy Boy's got to be one of them. If Joy Boy's the enemy of Im, say Im understands what Joy Boy is, and Joy Boy's got to
Yeah.
be one of them. We know it's not Blackbeard because thematically it just can't be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then it's down to like the obvious choice of it's got to be Luffy, right? Because he's the main character.
Hmm.
But then on the flip side of it, you do also have Vivi, you know, trying to just look out for everyone else as well. You know what I mean? And she's also like the
Hmm.
unofficial other Straw Hat member. So it's like, it's hard because then what if it's also just a misunderstanding? What if everyone thinks it's Joy Boy, right? And we've all been interpreting it as Joy Boy. But what if Joy
Hmm.
Boy isn't a person, but it's a group?
Right.
What if Joy Boy is actually not just a person, but it's the D clan, and the D is actually a smiley face?
Hmm.
You know what I mean? Like it's weird because you gotta whatever Joy Boy is, Joy Boy's got a link with the ancient weapons, right?
No, I think what it is essentially Joy Boy is the person who's going to become Pirate King, because like if you think about it, even if D is the smiley face, they've always talked about the D clan as in everyone who's born with the D almost like has a shot at being Pirate King, but only like the right D
Yeah.
person will actually become the Pirate King. So seemingly like everyone in the D is possible to become Joy Boy, but essentially whoever becomes Pirate King is Joy Boy. Like they don't have to be mutually exclusive, but whoever is Joy Boy is likely to become Pirate King
Yeah.
because they're meant to be like the legendary one. And so, why wouldn't
Okay.
they become Pirate King? So it's possible that like someone with a D in their name, like maybe like Luffy becomes Pirate King, but turns out Blackbeard is Joy Boy or something like that. but I think most likely
Okay.
Joy Boy is essentially just like the name that's given to the person who has inherited the will of D, who becomes Pirate King. And I think the idea of Pirate King is just like a reputation that the world has built that's commonly known. But I think Roger's idea behind it isn't that he wants the next person to become Pirate King. It's that he wants the next Joy Boy to come,
Okay.
to arise.
What if the reason we need a Kaido flashback is because Kaido is now set up. He knows what Joy Boy is. He's expecting Joy Boy, no different to Roger and Whitebeard, right?
Yeah.
What if he's at Wano because he expects whoever Joy Boy to be to essentially be like the best ever, and I'm not necessarily saying he doesn't believe it's himself, but he's saying like if he sits on Wano with poneglyphs on a mountain of poneglyphs, the stereotypical dragon sleeping on their treasure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
If he does that, right?
He's
Either
waiting for the hero.
yeah, either
The dragon waiting for the hero.
either he's already the god himself, or he's waiting for the god himself to challenge him for a good fight. You know what I mean? He's gatekeeping.
Yeah.
So I feel like we need more of a flashback from him because I feel like we need to have a better understanding of what it is. Because like when this arc finishes,
That's what I'm saying. If we have a flashback from him, it's going to be explaining that. It's not going to be explaining, hey, I'm Kaido.
I
This
think-
is my story.
I think it'll yeah, it'll be a bit of both because I think it'll set it up. But you got to think like when this arc finishes, we have 6 poneglyphs to read.
Mhm.
Like that is like to put it in perspective, right? A 10 out of 10 chapter is we got 1 poneglyph and we got Joy Boy from it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Having 1 or 2 chapters that's just back to back all poneglyph information is going to be freaking ridiculous. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's like,
Yeah.
and it's hard.
It's good because like Oda's essentially built up this story so much that he can actually set aside like 5 chapters to just monologue about world building stuff without
Yeah.
it seeming weird.
Yeah,
Like he can literally have 5 chapters that just
And-
goes, "This is what the world is. This is why it's shaped."
and
this way,
I
this
will
is
be
how it
there,
functions."
and I will be there going, "That's a 10 out of 10 chapter. Give me more,
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
dude."
Really
One
funny.
people can meme on One Piece going it's too long, but when you're up to date on One Piece, it's too short. Like it's
Yeah.
it's like you see Muffin Island out in the distance, and you're like, "What's its economy? Who runs Muffin Island? Is there a train track on Muffin Island? Do they need eggs? You know what I mean? Just like
I want when One Piece is over for Oda to just keep putting out bits of writing every now and then when he wants to, and just have like explain like the economies of different islands and shit like that, and like random islands that we've never been to. Like, yeah, there's an island out there that does this, and it's like just
Dude,
for memes,
dude,
just
it's
for more world building.
oh, so you know how I'm doing my great reread through of One Piece, right?
Yeah,
I've just hit the I've just hit the Grand Line. So I've just like the chapter I stopped is the one just before Laboon's introduced. So I've just gone over Reverse Mountain,
Okay.
right? Just at that point in the story, do you know how freaking fun and entertaining One Piece has been? The first 100 chapters, like just
I think the first like 100 chapters are so fun. Like they're the best because the story pace moves so quickly. It's like this is what's happening. Let's go. Let's do this.
do you
And you get to be introduced to all the new characters, so like all of their like kind of tropes feel fresh. Like it feels like it's the first time Brooke says the bone jokes.
I never
you know?
thought I'd be the guy who has to fight for this, right? But do you know how strong Buggy DeClown is? Like do you know like we underrate him, but do you like he's got a bounty of 15 mil, right? Do you remember what Arlong's bounty was?
No, I don't actually.
20 mil. Buggy's
Yeah, right.
Buggy's only a 5 mil diff to Arlong.
Yeah.
And Buggy like
And Buggy has some rep.
no, like screw rep. If knowing what we know now,
Also, the Navy didn't know that Arlong was on an island, right?
no, they knew.
His bounty,
No, the Navy knew.
they would have stopped him.
They tried to stop him 20 years ago, and they got sunk, or 10 years ago, or whatever, and they got sunk. The first, they sent a fleet to Arlong, but because they were fishermen, they sunk them on the shoreline, and they couldn't stop them, and they stopped sending ships after that. And then Arlong made deals with the local marines, and he paid them off.
Yeah, right.
East Blue's corrupt as F. Like
Yeah, I
Arlong,
mean, the world government is corrupt as that.
Arlong had like the navy on payroll.
You know what would actually be really interesting? If the Revolutionary Army, like the revolutionaries like cause, actually got worse after Keanu became fleet fleet
Fleet Admiral.
admiral, just because he was so hardcore justice on like so absolute justice on all the crime that like he actually routed out a lot of the corruption in the navy.
Oh,
And then the different islands started seeing like looking more positively towards the
dude,
world government, and
I
it like ruined. Yeah, that'd be
I got
cool.
into the biggest argument with Glittercorn, for those of you in the Discord, because I was on the side of I don't necessarily disagree with Akainu killing Marines if they're deserters. Like
Right.
in the situation that Marineford was in, right? Where like if you're in a war situation, you guys are all
Yep.
in the same situation. Like I know Akainu is like more well off, right? But like he's a leader, right? If you're looking at your troops, if you got one troop that starts screaming out, going, "You're all gonna die! Oh my god, we're all so screwed!" You'd just be like, "Someone shut that guy up before morale goes down and we do lose. Murk this
Yeah.
guy." Just like take him out in the back street, snap his neck, say he died
I
fighting
mean,
for his king and country, and then just go
it's
back to
a
work.
it's a thing that has been constant. Like it's a thing that's been constantly like put out there in wars through the whole of history. Is like if deserters get shot in the back. Like there would be in like I think it was World War One. There would be like when it was trench warfare. There would literally be people and their job is to stand at the back when
And
everyone
kill
would
deserters.
charge to the next trench, and they would stand at the back with a gun, and their job was to kill everyone who turns around.
Yeah.
And people would do it like pretty often. Like you'd see all your dudes running forward, all the shots would come in, someone would just turn around and then immediately get
Okay.
shot by their own
People
guy.
people love to hate Akainu. Do you know who's do you know okay, do you know what Akainu is?
Yeah.
Akainu is like Lady Sonade, right?
Mm.
Just does their job. Like literally just does their job. You know what I mean? Isn't special, isn't standout, just does their job.
Yeah.
Sengoku's like the third Hokage, where you think they're nice, but on the DL, they're like, oh yeah, Itachi, go murder the entire Uchiha clan or we'll do it. Like,
True.
the
By the
Robin
way,
Flash...
why do all three of the Sanin have like legendary summons and like no one else has a decent summon?
Because they're the three son... Oh, hey. What about Hanzo the Salamander? Got a big old poisonous salamander. How's that for a legendary summon?
But I
And
mean, like the Kage though.
Guy
One of them.
can summon a big ass turtle.
Yeah, but it's not
Kakashi
good, is it?
Kakashi's just got his dogs. He's just got his puppos.
Yeah, they're not that good, are they?
Hey, no, but that's it. Everyone else has got like big summon stuff like Kakashi's got like 30 dogs that he's just like, bro,
You're just like,
puppies.
yeah, go look at that. Go stand there and like tell me if someone's coming. Like,
Yeah. No, but like back to it, right? I've just hit that point in like One Piece and that, so I've just read Dragon's introduction into the series again, right?
Mhm.
Dragon 100% cares for Luffy. Like, Dragon shows up specifically for Luffy at Logtown, right? And he was just like passively watching him going about his adventure until Smoker stops him. And by the way, Smoker had the reputation of never having let a single criminal go from Logtown. He never, while he was in charge of Logtown, not a single person entered the grand line from Logtown, right?
Yeah.
Because Dragon showed up, Smoker has on his credit, right, that the Luffy and the Straw Hats escaped him, and Buggy and Alvida escaped him.
Yeah.
That's just
But he would also have it on his credit
Dude.
that Dragon stopped him.
Yes, yes, 100%. But right,
So that's actually really bad for Dragon as well, and it kind of proves how much he cares because like having Dragon reveal that he was in that
helping
location
and
is
help
really big.
and helping a
Yeah.
pirate. Like,
Because the thing is, like, even if it takes like 2 days for the report to be sent, Dragon is 2 days travel away from Logtown. You know that now.
yep.
The world government knows that now, and so he can be anywhere within this big circle radius. But still, it gives you a decent chance of capturing him.
All you got to do is just keep your eyes out and then track him down and take him out.
Yeah. Or you can at least figure out what he did or what he's going to do, or where he may go, etc. So he basically probably has to like change all of his plans from then on.
Dude, I want to have a big long stream or discussion going on about different East Blue villains, how well they would have fared on the Grand Line. If like if Krieg went back on the Grand Line and didn't have to immediately deal with a Mihawk in the first 7 days of his trip, how far would he have gone? Because some of the East Blue villains are actually like, do you know what? I take that back. Not some. All the East Blue villains actually in the manga just deserve so much more credit than they get.
I will say, like, Krieg was a really hard-working guy. Like, he wasn't a little,
So
little like weakling.
I
So,
actually
like, there's a good chance. There's as good a chance as anyone else that while he was traveling through the Grand Line,
he
he
would
would
have
get
got powered up.
Haki and probably
Yeah,
even keep going.
dude.
Yeah.
I actually like, again, coming fresh off having read Baratie, right?
Hmm?
Krieg actually sort of had the makings for a dude with conquerors, and his entire dynamic with Luffy was he was questioning how Luffy can be a leader.
Yeah. Right.
Like, it actually like was a commentary on like, you're not a good leader. You don't know how to lead your men, right? You don't know where they're best used for. You don't know when to make the call when they should die, right? And essentially he was like, and I fight, you say I use underhanded tactics, but I fight to win, right? I fight for me and my men. You know what I mean?
He was a bit of a boss, and I could totally see him like going to like every island and just ordering his entire
I
army
mean,
to like search the whole island for like devil fruits and that. Like I could see him
dude,
getting a fruit.
I know that Crocodile is ridiculously strong, and Luffy beating Crocodile was a bit of an ass pull, right? But low key,
Mm.
if Krieg and Crocodile fought, what's to stop Krieg releasing the M5 gas, M85, and poisoning Crocodile? And Crocodile, doesn't matter if Crocodile takes out Krieg, then it's like, shit, I'm poisoned.
Yeah.
Okay, can a Logia negate their an effect on their body if they turn into their element?
Mm, no idea.
That's that's something to be asked, because I feel like we don't get enough
No. I
no
have to say no because otherwise, like, say someone cuts you and then you turn into sand. There's no cut in the sand. So why
true.
wouldn't you just be able to revert back to a cutless human body using the sand? Get what I mean?
I mean, to be fair, you can't cut someone without Haki. That's a Logia.
Yeah, but that's what. Yeah, I know. But like if someone stabs you with haki and then you turn into sand,
But is
you
that
can't just then
essentially?
like turn back into
Ooh.
body. You get what I mean?
Yeah, I get ya. I get ya. All right, we've been streaming for an hour and a half now. Do you want to wrap it up?
Yep, sounds
All right.
good.
Cheers for coming. Much love, much respect, all that good stuff. Nami's personal new slave, the one and only dopey face homie that she carries around in her pocket. You know what we're talking about. Um, yeah, good chapter. Next chapter hopefully will be even better. We have no break. That is the best news as well, isn't it? Whenever I see that there's a break, a part of my like Big Mom just takes a little bit of my soul and just fucking 3 points it. She just dunks on me. You know what I mean? Alright.
Definitely.
You know what to do. Like, subscribe to the video, all that good stuff. It is appreciated. Subscribe to the channel. Hit the bell icon for more notifications for content like this. And until next week or until the next video, peace and have a good one and have a good